Perfect. And I'll share my screen. I don't know why every time I can never find where that recording thing is. Okay, close that over. Girls, bear with us for just 1 second. Did you go into that?
Yeah,
Yeah, just make it large if you can. No.
I'll come out and go back into the other one.
Sorry, girls, just 1 sec.
We'll do the desktop instead.
I'm pretty sure that is the desktop. Yeah, let me just try and dry it. Just ignore me for a second
Sure.
there. I have it.
It is there. I
Okay.
got it. Got it. Okay.
Every time.
All right, ladies. Massive hello and welcome to the Reset and Refocus. This is how to rebuild your routine again after the summer, get the momentum going, and to make sure that we are finishing off 2026 feeling really, really strong.
Now, we want to make sure you guys can all see this screen.
So give us a
So
thumbs up
give us
if
a
you
thumbs
can.
up if you can see reset and refocus. Fabulous,
Excellent. Lovely
fabulous.
stuff.
Because I
Okay.
remember we were doing this before and I don't think anyone could see our screen. So just want to make sure, just want to make sure. So yeah, welcome. So we will get into it. Okay, so as I said, we all know summer happened, and that is good because we all know summer is different and your routine is supposed to look different. I think everyone feels very guilty about summer, but we all know summer is packed full of holidays, barbecues. Most of you have kids, so they're off school. So your routine gets pretty much totally thrown out the window, and just, reminding you that that is totally normal and is nothing to beat yourself up about. Maybe you train less, maybe steps dropped, maybe your nutrition was kind of inconsistent because you had a lot of events, weddings, barbecues. That is something that, as I said to you, I want to normalize. It doesn't mean you've fallen off track. It's very, very normal for us all to have time off or time that we're not fully focused on our training, our nutrition. And, sometimes that is okay for just our mental health
Yeah, we
and our
need to have
head.
a bit of freedom and flexibility at times as well.
Absolutely. And like I said, there's a big difference between having more flexibility for a time and completely abandoning these habits that make you feel strong, healthy, and confident. So now it's just simply time for to bring a little bit more structure back because obviously the schools are going back soon and things will be way more structured for a lot of you once the kids go back to school.
Yeah.
We all know, even I don't know, even if you don't have kids, I feel like there's a lot more structure to just life in general when the kids go back to school. Everything is more
Yeah.
less chaotic, I think.
Yeah, so we're not trying to compensate for the summer. We're just trying to create a routine for autumn that makes you feel good again.
Yeah, and gets you back into it after a few months, a
Hmm.
little bit all over the place.
Okay, so grab your pen and paper, ladies. So before we decide where you want to go, we need to figure out where you're currently at. So we want you to give yourself a score of 1 to 5 in each of these areas. So 1 is pretty crap and 5 is really fucking awesome. So just be completely honest. No one else is going to see these scores. These are just for yourself to reflect. So just make sure you give yourself a really honest number to see where you're currently at right now. So nutrition, how consistent have you actually been between 1 and 5? Training, are you have you been training regularly or has it been a bit hit and miss? Your daily movement, what have your steps been like? Have they been normal? Have they been lower out of 5? Where are you currently at with those? Your sleep, are you getting enough? I know there's a lot of new mammies out there that are definitely not getting enough sleep.
There's a
And
lot of people not getting enough sleep
I know
after
it.
being on holidays and being in
Yeah.
their own beds. You're like that.
Yeah, my pillow has traveled the world with me. I cannot sleep without my pillow. So stress. How well have you been managing it and with everything that's going on? Mindset. So, mindset, how well have you been managing your mindset at the moment between 1 and 5? And how are you talking to yourself at the moment is a very, very important one as well because obviously if we let those negative voices creep in and we're constantly putting ourselves down, it can really have a massive effect on our mental health. Routine, do you like your weeks have a bit of structure or are you constantly winging it day to day? And time for you, are you actually making yourself a priority at the moment? So score yourself out of 1 to 5 on those.
We'll leave you for another like 20 seconds on this one so you can just write them down so you won't forget about them.
So 1 to 5 on your nutrition, training, daily movement, sleep, stress, mindset, routine, and time for you. And for those of you who just come in there now, one is really crap and five is really good. So give yourself a good score. And just make sure you're on mute as well, because I think there's a couple of people that are not on mute. Just make sure to mute yourselves.
I'll see if I can mute everybody here. Probably not.
No, just make sure that these are on mute. That's all, ladies.
Okay.
Perfect. Moving on. Okay, so look at your scores. Which one area do you think is the biggest thing that we can actually focus on that's going to move the needle forward, which is going to have the most impact on your results? So not all five things, just pick one. It's probably the one that has the lowest score. So because like sometimes you have to, we think that we need to overhaul our whole life and literally do these detoxes and change everything up and get up at 5 in the morning when it's something that we're not used to doing. That is not what we need to do. We need to just pick the one thing that's going to help move the needle forward the most. So one thing that is going to be the major problem. So look at your scores. For example, if sleep is the worst issue, it just means then sleep has knock-on effect. So you're exhausted, you're skipping your training, you're sitting down more, you're hungry more, you're making poor food choices, and then you're feeling frustrated then with yourself. So that just means then the sleep is the thing that we need to fix instead of adjusting your calories, instead of adding in more cardio, instead of like pushing for PBs. If we fix the sleep, that will have the biggest knock-on effect to help your results. So
Because sometimes it's really easy to look over one big glaring issue that's actually causing everything else to be affected. So obviously, yeah, sleep is a prime one that has a knock-on effect with every
yeah,
single thing, and also your mindset too.
yeah.
Yeah.
So look
So
at your lowest score. Maybe that's the kind of one that we need to focus on the most now over the next couple of weeks.
okay, so this is a really, really big one, okay? We want to stop waiting for motivation, right? How many times have you said to yourself, "Oh, I just need to feel motivated to do something," or I don't want to go to the gym this morning, I don't feel motivated, or you have a week where it's just everything goes to shit. Like motivation, someone explained this to me before.
Me.
It's yeah, yeah, no, shut up, you. No, but someone said this to me before. Like motivation is like the unreliable friend at a party, right? So like you're waiting for them to bring you home at the end of the night and you can't find them anywhere and they're drunk in the middle, at the side of the
Yeah.
room. They're like, they don't hang around. It's brilliant when it's there, but it is not always there. It is so, so unreliable, okay? So you know yourself, it's very emotionally based. Some mornings you will wake up and you'll be like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to take on the world. I'm ready to do my session and smash it. And some mornings, depending on how you feel, sleep, hormones, everything, you just won't want to see anyone. You won't want to go to the gym. You won't want to even get out of bed. And that is totally normal because we're human, but we're also women. So we have to battle with a million different things as well on top of it. So it depends really. Like I said, it's emotion, like being happy or sad. So we want to make sure that instead of like building our whole life and routine around motivation, we want to build routine first and motivation will follow after that. Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
Don't know why that takes, yeah,
Mhm.
okay. So if we look at motivation in general, motivation says like I'll train when I feel motivated. But if we put routine in place, we structure out the week. So we don't wait till we feel like we want to train. We're like, right, look at the diary. What days are my training happening? It's happening Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. These are my training days, whether I feel like I want to do it or not. That is a routine to set out for your gym sessions. So again, motivation says, oh, look, I'll just try to eat better tomorrow. But routine says you sit down in the evening when you've had your dinner and you're having your cup of tea and you'll pre-log tomorrow's food tonight. So you know exactly where your protein's hitting, you know exactly where your calories are hitting, and you're already ahead. You don't have to mess around with your food. You kind of know what you're going to have. So it's way easier.
Yeah,
It
I
takes
think this one is the biggest thing for me as well when I'm on a coach. Like I just wake up with a nutrition game plan already, have it pre-tracked, so I'm more likely to stick to what's already pre-tracked instead of veering off from it. And then instead of thinking of what would I like to eat, you're actually having what you're supposed to eat, which is going to help you move the needle forward and get you results
absolutely.
faster as well.
And sometimes when you don't kind of log everything in till the end of the day, you realize your calories are all over the place. You haven't even hit your protein target, you're nowhere near it, and then you're beating yourself up. So, routine of pre-logging is such a good habit to get into. So, again, another example motivation says, I really need to get my steps back up. But routine says structure it, right? I'm always going to go for a 15-minute walk after my lunch and work or during my lunch and work, or I'm going to always park down the other end of the car park when I do my Tesco shop. So I'm going to walk up to the shop, walk around the shop, and walk back. So these little things are just becoming part of your routine. Like it's not to wake up like every single morning being like, woo, I'm going to just, smash my whole day and everything's going to be great and I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to eat all the protein. The goal is really just to make your habits seem normal enough so that you don't need, a big motivational speech to yourself, or you don't need someone to convince you that you have to go to the gym or do the things you need to do.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but just to remind you, we don't rely on feeling ready because you won't always feel like you are. So make these decisions during the week easier to repeat and habit stack them with things you already do during the day to make sure that they always happen. So motivation comes from action and momentum as well follows as well.
Okay, so your badass big three. Okay, so we want to simplify things now. We want you to choose three non-negotiables for the next couple of weeks. We're calling these your badass big three. These are three things that you're going to like do consistently, and yeah,
Consistently.
and we'll move the needle forward for you towards your goals. So you pick what that means for you when it comes to training, nourishment, and move. So train can be if you're training like 2 times a week or once a week or 4 times a week, whatever that is for you, you're just going to write that down that that's what you're going to be and do consistently. And then nourish, then whatever your kind of nutrition goal is, if that's just staying within calories, if that's hitting your protein goal, if that's having protein with your breakfast first thing in the morning, wherever you're kind of slacking or struggling with your nutrition, and then that's the one thing that we want you to focus on over the next couple of weeks. And then your average step count. So whatever is normal for you, we just want you to add an extra 1,000 on, and then that's going to be your big kind of mover then when it comes to your steps.
And these will look different for everybody,
Yeah,
but it's
everyone's will
just
be
to have.
very different and personalized. So it's completely up to you where you're currently at right now, and then you just need to write that down and be consistent with it. Okay? So your big three will look completely different. Like I said, maybe yours is to go to bed by 10 p.m., to train twice a week, to prep a lunch for work, to hit your protein target, to drink 2 liters of water, to walk every time at lunchtime, to get outside every day. Whatever is going to be your big three, these are going to be personalized to you. There will be things in your mind that you know, okay, I need to be doing this. So whatever that is for you, write that down, and they're going to be your three big rocks really for the next couple of weeks. The important thing is they need to be realistic to your life. So don't just like say you're
Yeah,
going to
totally.
train 5 times a week when you're currently only doing one. Do you know what I mean? So whatever is going to be realistic and achievable for you, do not set yourself up to
Unrealistic
fail.
goals.
We
Yeah,
do not
yeah.
want that. We just want you to be where you're at now and start to bridge the gap to where you want to be. Okay. So we're not choosing like I was just saying habits for the imaginary version of you that has no job, no kids, no stress, and unlimited free time because that is not real life, ladies. We need to choose these things, these big three that will work for you right now and are realistic to fit into your lifestyle, okay?
This just makes me think of the most annoying quote of all time where they're like, oh, we all have the same 24 hours in one day. I'm like, every single person sitting on this call has a completely different 24 hours of their day. So your big three are going to be completely different depending on you, the one sitting here in front of us tonight. So yeah, just make it
Make
realistic for
them
your life.
realistic, yeah.
Okay, so the 1% rule, okay? So one of the biggest mistakes we see women trying to change everything at once, like we just said before, it's like, you just want to pile everything on. I think that's why when you first start out with a coach, everything feels very overwhelming at the start because you're like, oh my God, I have to pile all the recipes in. I have a new training program now. I need to hit 10,000 steps, meal prep for the entire week, make sure I'm sleeping properly, getting water in, etc., etc. You know, the way it goes on. But you burn out very quickly on this. You know yourself. It's like when you hear about people like, oh, I'm just going to do a juice detox diet back in the day. And they're like 2 days into it and they're like, that's it.
Yeah. They're
Basically,
ordering a pizza then an hour later.
yeah, that's what happens to your brain when you overwhelm it with a million different things at once. It's just like, fuck this. By Thursday, you're done. So instead, we're really wanting to try a much simpler thing and ask a much simpler question. What does 1% better look like for you this week? One sec. Okay.
Yep.
Now let's switch
Test the
this.
screen first.
Okay. Okay, so again, some examples. Maybe it is adding 1,000 steps to your current average to bump it up a little bit. Maybe it's doing 3 workouts instead of two, increasing your protein with breakfast to get your overall intake up, pre-logging your food, like we said the night before. We're always harping on about that,
It's a
but
game
it
changer
is
and
the
it
best
makes
hack.
life so much easier.
Going to bed 30 minutes earlier because we all know we wind down a lot later than we should sometimes. increasing your weights in the gym, just pushing yourself that little bit more, preparing your lunch the night before, and drinking another bottle of water during the day if your intake is quite low. So none of these things ever sound particularly exciting, but that is the entire point. Progress doesn't have to be dramatic at all to be an effective thing, okay? So small improvements repeated over time become massive changes. So that's what I always say, like 1% better every day, 365 days later, a year later, that's 365% better
Better.
if you're
Yeah.
doing something different every day. So yeah, that's our small question to, well, sorry, our question to you this week is what's your 1% that you can improve on this week?
Yeah. So not a dramatic overhaul, just a little improvement.
Just a small one.
So what do you actually want? Now that we've looked at where you're currently at, let's look at where you're going, okay? So we want you to think ahead at Christmas. So not just like what weight you want to be, we want you to think bigger than that, okay? So your body, how do you want your body to feel in your clothes? How do you want your body to feel when you look in the mirror? Then when it comes to your strength, is there something you'd love to be able to achieve in the gym? And we want to kind of shift the focus to like performance goals. So like your first push up, a chin up, a heavier squat, a deadlift, you're like whatever you want to achieve, like that can be something that we can work towards and map out for you come Christmas time. Health, what like do you want better energy, better sleep, better fitness, and then your mindset then, do you want to feel more confident, more in control around food, and whatever that kind of means to you, like what stands out when we mentioned our mindset and where do you want to improve on that? And then life then is like how do you want to feel when you're walking into Christmas this year?
So now here's the big question. If December you could talk to August you, what would she tell you to start doing now? So the woman you want to be as you end 2026 and step into 2027 isn't created in December. She's created through the decisions you start making now. Okay. So I know that might sound a little bit cheesy, but it's
Yeah.
true. It's true.
So look at what you can do over the next 16 weeks, okay? So sometimes we massively overestimate what you can achieve in a week and underestimate what you can achieve in a few months. So we've roughly got about 16 weeks between now and December. So let's put that into um
Perspective, I
perspective.
think this is
Yeah.
pretty cool. So if you train 3 times per week, that's around 48 workouts, which is pretty cool. So if you average 8K steps per day, that's almost 900,000 steps by Christmas, which is
Yeah.
wild. If you improve just one small thing every week, that is 16 opportunities to become better at that one thing. Okay. So imagine what could change if you simply just stacked these good weeks together. Not perfect weeks, like we always say, there's no such thing as perfection, just good weeks. Because we don't need one massive transformation week. We don't need everything to be ticked, all the boxes to be perfect. As we said, it doesn't exist. We need lots of fairly ordinary, good enough weeks stacked together. So this is where the magic happens. So I love that.
The magic is in the mundane.
Yeah, I love that totaled up thing because you're like, oh, that's
Yeah.
actually a
There's
lot
a
with my
lot of
algorithm.
opportunities to have massive results and to be smashing PBs and to be also doing things in the gym that you never thought possible. So plan for the shit week. So this
Love
is
this.
the most important thing. Everyone kind of thinks, oh, like I'll smash a couple of weeks and then something happens and then it derails you. You get sick. Your child is like sick or out of school or something kind of happens. Okay. So what we want to make sure is we have a backup plan for the shit weeks. Okay. So we're not hitting the focus button and it's not all or nothing, right? So this might be one of the most important things that we talk about on this webinar because we guarantee you between now and Christmas something will go wrong and that's life.
And this is one of my favorite quotes, and I've said it to some of the girls before when something happens and shit hits the fan. Life is what gets in the way when you're busy making other plans because you have no control over what's going to happen. So this time of year, especially, a lot of you are sick or have been sick, or kids are sick because the weather's starting to change. There's going to be weekends away, there's going to be weddings, you're going to be exhausted, period's going to hit. We are just going to have a plan for the shit weeks because what we don't want is to just throw it all in, to just ignore everything and to just like basically, like Lou said, hit the fucking button. So we want a plan for the good weeks and a plan for the shit weeks.
Yeah, so then you'll always have a plan. So it's just about obviously like low hanging fruits and changing things around a little bit, but still be able to do something rather than nothing.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like the bare minimum basically. So we want you to create two versions of your routine. So my ideal week and then my shit has hit the fan week.
Yeah. So we're going to give you a few minutes, right? Because you actually want you to write this down, right? So what is your ideal week? So write that down. So that's how many training sessions that you want to get. Like normally, your amount of steps that is your normal normal kind of set goal, your calories and your protein, like meals prepped, great sleep, plenty of water, whatever your kind of ideal week is, write down five, six things there on your ideal week. So write that down. My ideal week looks like this, okay? Write it down, give yourself a few minutes. So once you have your ideal week down, then we need to plan for the absolutely fucking shit weeks because they are going to happen, okay? So
Yes.
shit has hit the fan week.
So think about the bare minimum that you can do to still tick some boxes, but to not overexert yourself, but you can still fit them in if you're sick, somebody's sick, you've got a wedding on, you've
Yeah,
got
workload is
birthdays.
crazy. There's always going to be something happening, okay? So that then what we look at then is how many training sessions do you have in your ideal week, and then let's reduce them down into the shit week, okay? So if you have three in, that might just be one, and then more walks. If you have four in, it might be two. So whatever that is going to be, we just want to have a plan of action. If it's a case of you have like three gym sessions in, and then your shit week looks like getting in two home workouts, whatever is going to be realistic for you. Same with your step goal, whatever is your ideal week, now reduce that down on the crap week. Same thing then when it comes to your nutrition, and it could literally just be having protein with each meal. It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
tracking every single thing. Do you know what I mean? So whatever is going to be easy and obviously the low hanging fruit for you on like the busy, stressful weeks, you want to make sure that you have that backup plan in place.
Yeah, so basically, your shit has hit the fan is your minimum standard. Like I said, what we want you to remember, your minimum standard is not a failure. It is what stops one bad day becoming one bad week, becoming one bad month, becoming I'll start again in January. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's
We're not doing
we're
that
not
anymore.
shit no more.
Right. Pen and paper, then at the ready, ladies. This is the big part,
So
okay?
we're going back over a few things we discussed. Like obviously we flew through some of the things, so you didn't really get a chance to properly reflect on what you wanted to. So these are kind of some questions for
Yeah.
you girls, and we want you to kind of sit with these and write them out.
Yeah, so we're going to give you about 5 minutes for these pen and paper. So, big goal by Christmas, I want to, and this is totally personalized to you. I want you to sit with this for a few minutes and write down what you want it to be, okay? Once you have your goal, we need to find the reason why, because this is why it matters. It needs to be a little bit deeper. We don't want to be saying with the superficial stuff now, we're going a layer deeper. So, if your goal was you wanted to lose a certain amount of weight by Christmas, but why? Why does that matter? Why do you want to do that? Like if your goal was weight loss, is it because you want to feel better, feel more confident, you want to go for that job promotion, you want to be able to keep up with the kids, you want to have more energy? Why does it matter? And it needs to be a layer deeper for this, and we need to dig deep because sometimes when motivation is low, when you go back to the reason why you want to do that, that can really help you get going again. So dig deep, ladies. We're not doing that superficial shit no more. Gotta dig deep into your head now why that
Sometimes
really
it's hard.
matters.
Sometimes it is hard to
Yeah.
actually realize like why you're doing it. And sometimes you realize you're doing something and you're like, God, I'm actually not doing that for myself. I'm doing it for someone else, or maybe I feel pressure by someone else or something else in my life to do that. So make sure that your big goal is for you.
Yeah, it's a personalized goal for something that you really want and why that really matters to you and nobody else. Okay?
Then revisiting my badass big three. So what are the three big things for you? As we said, they can look different for everybody and will look different for everybody. But what are the three kind of big pillars for you?
How are you? Good, thanks.
If someone is not on mute, ladies,
I
if you don't
think
want
I
us to
think
hear your conversation with yourselves.
shocking.
Okay, so my 1% better. So what is the one thing I can improve this week? Small improvement, okay?
Could be anything. Going to bed half an hour earlier.
Getting the water in first thing in the morning, a few more
Doing yeah,
steps.
doing another 1,000 steps on your average.
Okay, my minimum standard when life gets mental, I will still fill this in.
Okay, have a think about what you're leaving behind. So, one habit or behavior or something that you've acknowledged this summer that you're just ready to just let go of.
Something that is no longer serving you and that you want to leave in the summer and not take it into the autumn with you. And our last one then, ladies, is who I'm becoming. This autumn, I'm choosing to become a woman who
For example, this autumn, I'm choosing to become a woman who keeps promises to herself. I'm choosing to become a woman who um,
is,
increases her protein with each meal.
yeah,
You know,
who doesn't hit the fuck up button after
yeah,
one takeaway.
I'm choosing
Whatever,
to become
yeah,
a woman who speaks better to herself.
yeah.
Do you know, there is a lot of things. And maybe after this, like we'll record this, but we can also send in the workbook, this this whole thing to the group so you guys can have a look back on it
Yeah, because
and
sometimes it is nice to kind of sit down like in a quiet spot and like journal these out for yourself as well when you're not under like a time pressure where you can have longer a chance to kind of really deep dive into your sentences and fill out the blanks for yourself as well.
yeah, because I think it's really hard when you're on something like this to be asked right now. Sometimes your brain can't really think of
Yeah.
exactly what, but sometimes when you reflect on it a little bit further, you can kind of think things.
Okay.
Okay, so that's it. Wait 1 second now. Yeah. So just leaving you girls on a little quote. So act like the woman you want to become. So we were talking about this the other day, about stepping into the person you want to be. And it's quite powerful talking about yourself like you're already there. So a little thing that we're going to be doing at the weekend is doing out a vision board, which is something we were planning to do for a while and we haven't actually gotten a chance to. So I would welcome you girls to maybe try one out. So we're going to do them. Probably I'll do it on Canva because you know I'm the Canva queen. But it's basically just pulling some different visuals onto a page that you kind of want for your future self and you the like the person you want to become and the experiences you want to have and the things you want to do and achieve.
Hmm.
So yeah, that can be quite powerful.
Yeah, I absolutely love that quote. Like, act like the person you want to become, because if you act like that person, your habits and behaviors will
Align
align with
with it.
that, and then that's who you will actually become by just taking those actions as well. Okay, ladies, we're going to stop sharing, and we'll get back,
I'm going to let our
and we're going
kitten
to
in for a
stop
second because he's having a mental breakdown.
recording.